you, Liz, for that. When Liz was trying to recruit me for the job, she started texting me at one point saying, basically, this is my life's mission to make you take this job at the DNC. And in a lot of ways, I'm very happy I did it, because I get to talk to all of you. So just to give you some background for where I came from, my job before working at the DNC, I lived in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I ran the team that launched the fleet of self-driving cars into Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I used to wake up at, well, I won't tell you when I woke up, but I used to walk out my door at 8:30 in the morning, and my son would be like, Baba, robot car is here. And I would sort of get in the car, push the button, and it would drive me to work every day. Before that, I lived in San Francisco, and I ran the engineering group at Twitter, where my team's job was effectively to make sure the fail whale never happened. So in 2010, I started in 2009. In 2010, there was the World Cup. I remember that World Cup viscerally. I still have PTSD from that World Cup. Because every single time a shot on goal happened, Twitter would just go down. And like, we'd be down for entire games at a time. So we'd basically be cheering to make sure a goal never happened. But World Cup 2014, we've had a total of 3 seconds of downtime during the entire tournament. So I think we did our jobs within a few hours of the last game ending. I resigned because I figured I did everything I needed to do. So I sort of come to you, I guess, as an engineer in a lot of ways. This is my first foray into electoral politics, so I don't have a lot of either baggage or perspective of where we've come from in the past, except for how an engineer would look at things. So given that, I want to sort of say things in the way that an engineer would, and sort of understand the problems the way an engineer would. So given that, my slides don't work. The way I like to describe this job is not really as technology, but more of a job of infrastructure and platform, and making sure that the party can provide that kind of technology to all of you in order to get your jobs done in a lot of different ways. So if you think about how the DNC is set up, we sort of play this foundational layer at the national level with the state parties sitting on top of us. We provide a lot of services to our state parties. We provide a lot of technology and data to our state parties, who then in turn support all the candidates on top of them. So we are providing what we would say working at scale means, and providing all that back up the funnel so that our candidates can get the tools and technology they need. I want to do the same for all of you. I want to go build that kind of foundational layer that all of you can go build your applications on top of, that then get into state parties and then get into candidates. So the job of the DNC from here on out is to win elections from the school board to the White House. Normally, you would think of the party as one that only showed up once every 4 years, but obviously that hasn't worked. As my boss Tom Perez would say, we've been testing this hypothesis of what it's like to run nationwide elections with a really weak Democratic Party, and that hypothesis has failed us. Like, we've lost so many races on the down ballot that it's embarrassing, effectively. So we need to rethink our game and actually build that pipeline back from state legislature, back from school board, all the way back up to the White House again. But the daunting thing about doing that is if we are about 6,500 races that we need to figure out how to play in 2018 when you do that summation. So we need to figure out how to go and service all these people at that scale and make it run efficiently and effectively. Basically, the job is we need to make sure that all our candidates by default run the world's best campaign. It shouldn't be a question whether or not they're running the world's best campaign. The technology should just make that possible and get out of their way so they can focus on message. They can focus on serving their constituencies and making sure they're doing the right things that our people in their electorate want. So we took an analysis of what the red team has done as part of putting together what our strategy should go look like, and they've moved really far ahead. In a lot of ways, we were the technology powerhouse in the 2008 and before elections, but in the 2012 and 2016 election, they've been slowly catching up. In fact, since around the 2013 timeframe, they've put about $175 million into technology upgrades for the entire red team overall. They've become masters at Facebook and social media. They've become masters in targeting different audiences. And so this is the world that we're up against. This is the world that we're competing against. But I would say this is not the world that we have to go build, Because if we build this, we're only playing catch up. We'll always be like chasing taillights in that world. We need to figure out what's going to take in order to leapfrog them, in order to do something fundamentally different in the next few years to really pull ahead, not just for the 2020 election, but beyond that. So, thank you. So given that, I want to sort of lay out sort of what the DNC technology team strategy looks like right now. And it's a two-pronged approach. I want to be as transparent as I can because I'm going to need help. So I want to just lay it out how we think about it. Number one is we want to go build flexible data infrastructure within the party. What's that mean? So if you step back again and look at the voter file, the thing that all our candidates are craving to get access to, it was built in the mid-2000s, and it was built for a campaign that was run in the mid-2000s. The way I like to say it is, effectively, the voter file will support a direct mail marketing campaign. It doesn't support the kind of campaigns that we want to build today. It doesn't have things like cell phone numbers across the board. It doesn't have social media profiles. It doesn't have consumer purchasing data. It doesn't have relationships built into it. It doesn't have all the things that a social media company would have if you were to think about building a database. And what's a party except a social media platform? Like, a party is a way for people to connect with each other, for us to get messages out. So we need to think about our technology in the same way that a social media platform will go do it. And in fact, the data that we have is focused on being raw. It's not providing higher level insights to help our candidates win. That's the thing that we need to be focusing on. So what I'm proposing we do, just off the bat, work has started on this right now, is we just need to update our data. We need to catch up and make it more modern. We need to get social media information, cell phone data, consumer purchasing data, relationships into it, and we need to break down the silos on all the data across the blue team. Every single one of you has data that you've been acquiring in a bunch of the things that you're building. Even within the DNC, we have 4 silos of data that's not talking to each other. All this together, because the thing that we really need to go build is a 360 view of every single Democrat and every single American in the country. Like, we need to understand like how to engage voters where they are, whether it be on their phone, at their home, on the landline, on the go, and we need to be able to engage voters on the topics they care about. So we need to have a fine-grained understanding of everyone, so I'm not just talking to a mass audience from the DNC, but I'm talking to every single one of you individually, just at scale. So the second part of our strategy. So first, we'll build flexible data infrastructure. The second is we just need to get our candidates to win. We need to get them the tools in order to go do that. So to try to start thinking about this, we think of ourselves as infrastructure and technology. We think of all of you as the services. We want you to go build tools for our candidates. We want you to go build tools for our state parties, because you can target their needs better than the national party can. We'll go build stuff that we think everyone needs, but Illinois needs different things than Massachusetts. Our candidates in California need different things than our candidates in Alabama. I need you all to go build that, and I need to make it possible for you to do it easily and do it really, really quickly. So that's how we're starting to think about the platform that we're building here at the DNC. And we've been starting to map out the different phases of a campaign just to get a common language that we can all start talking about things under. We'll release these at some point so we can all just start talking about, are you working on the phase 0 part of the campaign or working on the phase 4 part of the campaign? So we can really then start to put together what we want our common strategy to go look like. Here at the DNC, what I want to go do is release a bunch of data that makes it possible for you to build an application that services the fundraising portion. Or I want to release a bunch of data that makes it possible for you to go build the GeoTV version of a campaign and do that really easily, and also allow you to give me data back so we can share this far and wide. I want to get all of us onto the same page as quickly as possible so we can build everything our extended blue team needs as fast as we can. And I want to start introducing interoperability between all the work that you're doing so we can move data between all evolve. So you can focus on, you want to build that perfect app for canvassing? God bless you. Go build the perfect app for canvassing, and then it just flows seamlessly into phone banking or whatever we need to go do next. So if we start to think about it this way, here's an example of how we like to think about how things might start to get organized, that we can really start taking next generation tools and mapping them to different portions of the campaign and recommending this to candidates. Of just like, are you a candidate who's working in a down ballot race? Are you a candidate who's working in a rural district? Here are the tools that we think you need in order to win. And here is the ways that, and here's the things that we at the DNC are going to start to do in order to either mass negotiate these or grease the wheels to get these kind of tools on the ground. These might not be the exact tools for everyone. This might be one particular campaign set of tools that we recommend or other people recommend, but we want to start building a framework for this. And we've been toying with a bunch of names around this, like campaign in the box, campaign toolkit, campaign backpack. Like, we think of ourselves as basically systems integrators at the DNC. We're not going to go build every single tool. I don't have the time for that. I don't have the budget for that. I'll build a bunch of the data, and I'll provide slots in the campaign toolkit for all of you to get deployed into the field. We really feel our job is to make sure that we can play matchmaker. Do you have a really cool tool for GeoTV? I will find you a candidate who wants to go use it. And then what I'm going to do is I'll provide you data. I'm going to understand whether you worked in the field or not. And if you worked, great. I'm going to deploy you everywhere. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to tell you why so you can fix it so we don't waste time so that we can then redeploy you into the field everywhere. So that's the cycle that we want to go and try to build around technology. So if you sort of think of like how innovation has usually worked in the past, it usually shows up every 4 years at the presidential cycle. And what we're trying to do is spread this as far down as we can. So for example, on the DNC side, we have all the tools and all the software that power the HFA campaign. We're in the process of releasing it and making it possible for all candidates to go use it. So for example, the events tool that the HFA campaign built, we've deployed into Virginia, and we want to deploy into other races. SMS tools, all these things, we want to just start releasing. Of course, we don't have them all. You have some of the tools, and we want to make sure that they get into the field too. But the thing we want to do in return is take learning and bring it back up the field. So if you think about every single race, all the 6,500 races that'll happen next year, they're happening in every single geography and demography across the country. So I want to start spreading learning horizontally. Like if you have a technique that's winning in a rural district, I will find other rural districts and we'll try the exact same thing. If you have a technique that's working in an urban district, we'll try it in every single other urban district. But then we want to sum it up as well. So as we race toward 2020, we want to create this playbook of everything that has worked in the past few years that we can hand to the campaign, being like, here's everything we've learned in the last 3 years. Go and run as fast as you can. So we want to take those learnings also and then invest back into the data infrastructure. So for example, a thing we're trying in Virginia, just to call out a friend, we're deploying Voter Circle into Virginia. And if it works, we want to go and invest in that type of data to go into the voter file to make available to everyone else in a bunch of ways. We want to go test a bunch of techniques, whether it be social graph relationships, or whether it's Foursquare data, or whether it's whatever data it might be. And anything that works, we want to figure out how to go wide inside the data infra. So if you take that two-pronged strategy I was playing of let's build flexible infra and then let's build tools and techniques, we want to sort of make a cycle around this. So every single time we find a technique that works, we're going to put it in the infrastructure and make it available for everyone else so we can then find the next technique that works and keep that cycle going. People ask me all the time, why can't you just do what the Trump campaign did? And my answer is generally, we could, but we have no idea if that's going to work moving forward. The only way that we are going to find that magical thing that works in 2020 is we got to try 1,000 different things, 1,000,000 different things between now and 2020, and that's where all you come in. Is I want to try every single one of your ideas and learn what works best and like keep on going as we race toward that date. So if you think about, again, this map of all the parties, we are playing this infrastructural level amongst everybody of providing data tools, providing access from you guys. I want to deploy every single one of your tools into the field. And I want you to go build it for me. We are not going to go build everything. You guys are going to go build all that technology that we're going to deploy in the field. My job is to enable that and make it happen as fast as we can. And this is the thing that stresses me out every single day, is that sort of the clock is running. We only have that many days until the election of 2020. So we got to get our acts together pretty fast. And I want to help all of you all to go do that. So given that, thank you very much.